What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Builder's Bible. I'm joined by Ryan Carpenter. Ryan and I met on Facebook, and I saw him posting some pictures of his crew, his team. I was like, this guy's running an operation. So I was eager to have him on the podcast. So he's founder, owner of Plumbing and Heating Paramedics, and they are knocking it out of the park. So Ryan, tell us a bit about the company, how you got started, and how we wound up where we are today.
Yeah, man. First of all, Andrew, it's nice to meet you and put a face with who I've been texting and communicating with. But no, I appreciate the opportunity to be on this morning. And so I'll kind of back up a little bit. Started in Michigan, where I'm from, small little farm town, Coldwater, Michigan. And my parents owned a plumbing and heating company pretty much my whole life. And after school, I knew I wanted to get out of that small town and really had no interest in staying there. So I had an opportunity to go work for a wholesale distribution company in plumbing and heating. And I knew plumbing and I knew sales and I knew heating and air. So had an opportunity to do that. And took my venture to Fort Wayne, Indiana, and opened up a location there for actually the largest in Indiana, selling plumbing and heating supplies to contractors. And along that journey, really enjoyed it, did very well, helped open up the South Bend location as well. And then they asked me to move to Indianapolis, which is what brought me down here. And when I came down to Indianapolis to become the sales manager for that company, I really saw just kind of this huge disconnect with plumbing and heating. And I joke around about it that I feel like I left a pond and came to the shark tank. And what I mean by that is just business was done so much different in Indianapolis. And this was 16, 17 years ago. And I really saw that there was just this huge disconnect. These contractors were my friends, which are now my competitors. But I saw this big disconnect with homeowners and the companies. And the companies were all about high pressure sales, turning their technicians from hourly to commission, and really just saw that disconnect. And I saw an opportunity and a niche in the market to start my own company. And I remember calling my dad, who had sold his plumbing and heating company in that small town. And I said, Dad, I'm going to start a plumbing and heating company, and I'm going to call it Plumbing Heating Paramedics. Our trucks are going to look like ambulances, and that's going to be the whole marketing concept behind the company. We're your first responders, we're your emergency plumbing and heating supplier and company. And he said, well, if you're really interested in doing that, I'll move down there and I'll come be your first employee.
That's cool. I love that.
Well, it was kind of the godly moment. I remember looking up and I'm like, okay, God, this is definitely the sign that this is what I'm supposed to do. And so Mom and Dad both moved down from Michigan to Noblesville, where they still live today. And Dad was my first heating tech. He was pretty clear about it, though. He said, listen, I will come work for you as a heating and air technician. He was like 58 at the time. He's like, but I don't want anything to do with the business. I don't want anything to do with money, hiring, firing. I've owned a business for years, and I'm over all that. But I'll come help you get this thing started as a technician. And I said, that's perfect, because I'm not looking for a partner. So Dad was my first heating tech. My mom said, I'll come work for you in the office. And I was like, well, that's a little bit of a problem because I don't have an office. I'm renting a little warehouse from a buddy of mine with a overhead door, and I was renting it for like $500 a month just to keep things lean and mean at the beginning. And so she had a plastic fold-out table with a computer and a phone on it, and I bought 2 old box trucks and wrapped them to look like ambulances, and we went to market back in 2011. We're coming upon 15 years of being in business, and we just continued to grow it. And I was really blessed to meet a guy by the name of Bryce Garrett. He's my plumbing operations manager now, but he was my first plumber. So he's been with me the whole 15-year journey and helped me start the business with my dad. And we've just grown the business over the years and just doing the right thing.
So cool, man. I love the story. It's small beginnings. Love having your parents on staff. Yeah. Your dad was your first tech. That's such a cool story. So tell us, kind of today, and it sounds like you've really built out a brand around the whole paramedics, the emergency rescue type thing.
Yeah.
You know, when people ask you like, what makes you guys different? There's a lot of HVAC and plumbing companies out there, but what's your kind of value prop, or what makes you guys different from the other guys?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is I actually just made a video on this and on my social media platforms, and it really comes down to I think everybody wants to think that their quality is better and that their products they use are better and that their customer service and although I do believe all those things are better in our company, I think it really comes down to the commitment and the reason I started the company. It wasn't because I needed a job. I started the company because I felt truly that the Indianapolis market was being underserved. And I
Mm,
wanted to bring back the hometown values that I grew up in Michigan of
mm,
taking care of people first. The word service has the word serve in it. And I wanted to serve the community better than any of my competitors. And I
yeah.
knew that if I served the community, I took care of them. And it was really an interesting part in our industry. If you go back 15 years ago, it's like this big cycle, and we're in it right now with private equity and everything else. But I saw an opportunity where every company was kind of going this direction with the way they were paying their techs. And,
Mm,
I don't have a problem with commissions if you're a salesperson, but technicians are not salespeople; they're mechanics. And I didn't like to see how the industry was changing, so I decided to go the opposite way. I wasn't chasing any competitor. I wasn't chasing any company. I was literally trying to kind of revolutionize the industry in the way we did things by bringing back the values. And at that point, it was a pipe dream, Andrew. I was like, can I build a company running it the right way with ethics and honesty, taking care of our customers, doing the right thing, not trying to upsell every time we have an opportunity? Will that work? Can I
yeah.
compete? And
Yeah.
after about 2 or 3 years in the market, I realized that not only can it work, but we can really be successful with this business model.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking like, well, why isn't there paramedics all over the country? If we can break into the Indianapolis market, we can break into other markets. But I also
Yeah.
knew that I still had a lot to prove and a lot of things to do, and create the business model and keep building that out, operations manuals, our processes, our procedures, and everything else. So I just hunkered down and spent the next 5 or 6 years really building that business out and keeping the
Mm,
culture. So back to your question, the difference between us is our people. It's the culture that we've created. And one of the biggest surprises that came out of that was these technicians were coming to us and saying, listen, if you guys truly are that much different than the company I'm working for, I'd love an opportunity to work for you. So I never saw that coming. I never thought that it would be. I'm not saying it's easy to find technicians, don't get me wrong. Work and workforce is always the toughest thing in a business,
yeah.
but the amount of people that we started getting from other employees saying, "Hey, John said it's great over there. Can I come interview?" So that was one of
Yeah.
the big surprises I think early on that I was that we uncovered.
Great word. So it sounds like a lot is going really well. What's one thing right now that is going just like you're so pumped about it in your business? And then what's a real big challenge or, pain point or something that you're facing as well?
Yeah, I think one of the things that's going really well is just really I had kind of a godly moment about 3 months ago. And he just kept kind of putting it on my heart that you need to get involved in social media and you need to kind of take a platform to really educate the customers out there of what's truly going on in the plumbing and heating industry. And what I mean by that is 15 years ago when I started, there was still really good smaller mom and pa's, I call them, plumbing and heating companies. And over the last 15 years, and specifically the last 2 or 3, those companies have just been getting gobbled up by large conglomerates and private equities, and
Yeah.
they keep their 50-year-old company on the logo, but they're completely being ran by different companies. And I'm not here to bash private equity or large corporations by any means, but they have one purpose in mind, and that's money. And that's doubling or tripling their evaluation so they can flip it in 4, 5, 6 years. And that is not what the plumbing and heating industry is for me. I am here to run a family company, doing things the right way, taking care of people, and really taking care of your employees. And we have a thing in our business that comes down to take care of your employees, and they'll take care of your customers. And I think a lot of people are always like, is a customer more important or is your employee? In our company, I think the employee is the most important, because if you take care of them and they're happy and not disgruntled, they're going to provide excellent customer service to your customers. And that's what's built our company, is that culture of putting the customer first.
I love that. What's a big pain point or challenge that you guys are facing right now?
Yeah, I think just in any marketing, when you are competing against the big guys out there, they have such big budgets in marketing. And I think just, really coming down to educating the customer properly. I run across, and there's many videos I have out there of customers being sold furnaces for $18,000 and getting scammed by, you have a cracked heat exchanger and you truly don't. And we do a lot of second opinions on those and different things, but there's just a lot of shadiness. So I think uncovering that is probably the biggest thing. And then also with that, there's just not a lot of trust from the typical consumer anymore. So you show up to that new customer, you knock on the door, they're already kind of at guard, they're already kind of like, I've been taken advantage of before.
Yeah.
And so breaking through to let them know that we're just people running a company and we're really there to take care of them, because everybody claims that, right? I mean, no business owner out there is like, yeah, I'm trying to screw every customer I can over. They don't say that, but it's uncovering and educating the customer on what our real goal is of being there. I would say is probably one of the biggest challenges, but it's definitely one that's, you can overcome by just being a person, down to earth, petting their dog, getting to know the customer, shaking their hand. Like, it's the old values of sending handwritten thank you cards to every customer. We still do that every single day. Our office does. Yeah. And just, I tell our guys in meetings and stuff, it's like, do you ever just shake the hand of a customer and say, listen, you could have chose 100 different companies, but you called us, and we appreciate that. And that means a lot to our family business and what we do. And just being genuine and not having a script to work off of.
I love that. Two more questions. Let's start with this one. How are you guys integrating artificial intelligence into your business?
Slowly. I mean, I think anymore with AI, all of our website contact forms, things like that, especially running a 24/7 operation. A customer sends in a website application at, I'm interested in a new water heater or whatever, having AI respond to that, get that job booked, just really being a little quicker in our communication. But I'm not like all in on it yet, because I still like the personal touch. One thing about our company that I kind of bring back to hometown old school values is people don't want to call a company and hear press 1 for this and 2 for this and 3 for this. It's they want to call somebody, and that's one of the biggest things that we do really, really well, is pick up the phone and actually talk to the people and take care of them. And we're all local CSRs and our call center. I don't even like using the word call center because it sounds so basic. They are CSRs. They're customer service reps that are there to really give you the peace of mind that you've called the right company. We're here to help you, and we're going to get you taken care of. And I think AI is definitely a need and a niche, and we'll see how it continues. But as of right now, that's kind of how we're integrating, AI.
You've alluded to your faith a few times. It's a very faith-friendly podcast. It's, instrumental in how I run my businesses. Talk about how your faith has impacted how you run your company, the culture, all the things.
Yeah, my faith is everything. I'm better at it, if I can be completely honest. I'm better some days than others. I'm an entrepreneur by heart. I'm a guy that needs Jesus, because truly down to my core, I'm not that great of a person. And I realize that I need Jesus in my life. But it's one of the biggest things that I spread through different series. That I have a series called Building the American Dream, and I go out and interview companies on a weekly basis, local family-owned businesses, and I try to do one a week. And then I post that video. And one of my questions is how has God played a role in your business and your personal life? And one of the things that I've been so encouraged by is just seeing how many of these business owners do have faith in their business, because at the end of the day, we can't do it all. We're not designed to handle all the pressures of business and life on our own. And I think the quicker a business owner realizes that it's not all on their shoulders, and that God has our back in everything that we do. He brought me to this moment. He created this vision of this company where I am today, and I owe all of the credit and glory to God for what he has. So I try to keep it centered in everything that we do in our business. And you don't have to be a Christian to work for me. It's not a prerequisite, but believe it or not, it's amazing how many people come to Christ when they see how our business operates, and they just start seeing it. I'm one of those people that if I have to tell you I'm the owner or the boss, I'm probably not a good boss. If I have to tell you that I'm a Christian, I'm probably not a good Christian. So yeah, I really try to live my life. And once again, I fail at it all the time. And I let my own being take over sometimes. And then I have to step back and realize this is not how I'm supposed to be. God has put me in this position. I think the biggest thing I've learned from it is timing, and that his timing is so much better than mine. But as a Christian, sometimes understanding the timing, he has a plan. And I look back at different things where I wanted to grow at a certain time, or I wanted to do this in business, and it wasn't the right time. And he held that door closed. And then a year later, I'm like, okay. Or I had an employee that leaves us, and I'm thinking, man, this is horrible. He's been with me for 5 years. And then I realized that I find out more about that situation, or I find somebody that he's bringing into my company that's even better. So it's just the timing of it, the real belief, and just putting him first in everything that we do is the main goal. Once again, I'm not perfect at that, but I try every day to live by him and to honor him, and to just always remember, this is not me that's created this. This is him and the opportunities that he's given me, and I just feel very blessed for that.
Amen. Yeah, my mentors, the Benham brothers, always say God's yes and his go come at two different times.
Yes.
So that just kind of reminded, as you were talking, I thought that was a good word.
Yeah.
Ryan, if people want to find out more about who you are and what you do, where can they go?
Yeah. Visit any of our TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Plumbing, Heating, Paramedics is the name of the channels. Like I said, the channel was really created for educating customers on the myths of the industry. I have a lot of videos and different things of what contractors don't want you to know in different things. And I bring some faith into those channels as well, because I think that's a big part of it. And then obviously the Building the American Dream of just really having a passion for small family businesses. And I say family, just small businesses in general. They're the backbone of America. I mean, that's what built our country, was an immigrant taking a leap of faith to go start a business and to grow that. So I don't think that the world is all the big conglomerate corporations. I think it's still those small business owners in all these small towns across this country that make it up. But yeah, phparamedics.com is our website. Love to have anybody that wants to follow any of that. But yeah, just been a great journey and a lot of fun.
Awesome, man. Well, had a blast. Thanks for coming on the podcast. Don't go anywhere because I want to keep talking, but thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.